Mood had one amazing launch. I can't possibly take anything away from that, unless of course I'm a two-term agent. They take everything. It was a chill evening, light showers here and there, and the huge online hype had finally caught up to it. Hii ni gari ya mdosi bana. It had to receive the attention. Grown men left their houses all the way to KICC where a welcome event was being held, which, to be honest, was fire. But with all that, she still does not make it to my list. Maybe Opposite does. Opposite has had some of the biggest launches as well, and in one of them, completely shutting down the streets of Nairobi. As wild as it may look or feel, it was just a regular march filled with Opposite's regular hype. But it still does not make it to my list. You know who does? What you're looking at on your screens right now is a bunch of guns. Is a bunch of vehicles known as the Kanambo family, numbered as 1, 2, 3, and 4. And for a valid amount of time, they made us envy owning and operating buses ourselves. Were they the best of their time? Probably not. Did they have more hype than Prime, Opposite and Mood? Very much unlikely. But they contribute to this video specifically for their launch of Kanambo 3 and 4. It was an organized launch, heavily backed and escorted by Kanambo 1 and 2 all the way through Nairobi CBD. I mean, when last did you see a rat race and a launch on the same street at the same time? That's what I thought. They also came with magnificent lighting system that was unseen by that time. And if it somehow makes you feel any better, they did set the pace for the official night launching of Matatus that has been very common today. The night was literally theirs to take, and they delivered. That actually reminds me of Matrix's launch. See, on the evening Matrix set wheels on the street, a lot of people were present, and at first, the night did seem promising. Spoiler alert, it got worse. GK had finally received a new member, worthy enough for the streets, but the OGs were not having it. Anyway, the journey began at the usual warehouse en route to Nairobi CBD, complete with the usual Nganya starter pack. This type of guy, no offense, firimbis and vuvuzelas. As the night grew darker, the bright lighthouse was turned on, giving a vivid description of the crowd that had grown even bigger with the double the adrenaline hit. Finally, Matrix made it to the CBD, and it was a huge scene. People's boyfriend shouting, others running on foot, others hanging on vehicles. You know how the whole situation be. Up until this point, everything seemed normal, for Kenyans at least, but the march continued. But somewhere across the street, someone was patiently waiting for his time to pounce on the attention. Bionic. He finally got the opportunity he wanted, and let me tell you, Maina, Matrix wished to reschedule his launch. It gets worse though. Boombox was also minding his business a few blocks away when he heard the commotion. So he asked the bystanders what's going on. They said Matrix is getting his green ass handed to him. Boombox said, well, what are we waiting for? Let's go hand it to him. And just like that, Boombox came with his own fair share of fans and hype just to do what Bionic had already started.
Shit!
So, what was initially a Matrix launch became the three-way the culture definitely needed. Eventually, Matrix switched off the light and carried the day like normal. To some, GK aligongwa njwanga, design Mbavu destroyer, and to some, it was an overwhelming welcome. Either way, you don't really spot a launch like that on a regular Saturday. But Boombox and Bionic are not the only ones capable of, delivering a low blow. Opposite has, for the longest time, been a more serious delinquent, and Mamba can testify. It was a warm night, and the streets of Nairobi were filled with the regular brand of humans. Pickpockets, hawkers, last-minute acrobats, and every breed you can imagine. Mamba, KDJ 047M, was lacing up his boots to begin his Matatu journey, and of course, complete the legacy of his older brother, KCW 047. On this night of his official launch, he showed up on the streets complete with lights, attractive horn, heavy music, and a buttload of fans. You know the starter pack. Umoja had just received their Sifuna, so all the fun and shenanigans was allowed, even though the culture was well represented. When time came to meet new audiences, he gradually advanced forward to conquer a bigger part of the CBD. Little did he know that the final boss was slowly tracking his movements. As soon as he hit his final corner, Opposite showed up with the Mimi Ndio Sifuna slogan. Dividing Mamba's fans into asymmetrical too, and that is where things started to get weird. Judging by the behavior, it was clear that Opposite had come to bully, ignore, and do a couple of things to Mamba, things I can't really mention on this platform. After a few minutes of serious bullying, he decided, well, it's time to go, leaving Mamba down bad with a pinch of confused fans and a total lack of bearing. So Mamba took this opportunity to pick a compass and find some direction, at his own pace, of course. But before he could think any deeper, Opposite had circled the block and returned. Mamba was still blaring horns, but all we heard was, "You got to be kidding me." We sincerely thought that Opposite would have some little bit of Matatu decency and let Mamba have this night, but looking at the driver's hype, it was clear, ilikuwa ndoto ya mchana. Mamba had no option other than to take the hits. Eventually, Opposite left Mamba alone, and they lived happily ever after until Mamba ended up in a retirement home. These are the nights that make history in Matatu culture, and aside from the bullings, they make a pretty memorable experience. Leave a comment down below and tell me what you think about this video. Also, if it's too much work, then just press the thumbs up so I know you enjoyed it. With that being said, I hope to see you on the next one.